I'm reading Hodges' headline, right? Dan Hodges, Mail on Sunday. Labour are scared of a Boris return, and they should be. And I'm like, mate, Boris Johnson won an 80-seat majority and proved to be so shit at being prime minister. Like, so corrupt, so punch drunk on power that within 2 years, he'd tried to, disband the Standards Committee. He'd overlooked reports about someone being a sex pest and made him chief whip anyway. Like, there's Partygate, there's second job stuff. Johnson's leadership saw his 80-seat majority reduce again and again at every by-election. Like, his approval rating and poll lead collapsed like fucking buildings on 9/11. Like, it suffered the worst local elections in decades. Tory strongholds went to Labour. The guy is fucking voter kryptonite. He's a huge voter turnoff. He's like the opposite of Viagra or some shit. Right? Like, it's like, oh, hey, Labour are scared of a Johnson return. Oh, yeah, mate. Yeah, oh, sure. Yeah. I'm sure they're quaking in their boots. I'm sure they're terrified. I mean, we laugh at Tory funding and dodgy donations, but honestly, like, if it turned out that Labour were behind that £1 million going into Johnson's office, right, I would be like, fair fucking play. That is some strategic cuntery right there. Chess, not checkers. Like, we would actually be really comfortable with Boris Johnson going for the leadership again and leading you into the next general election. That could work out really well for us. Would you take £1 million check from Labour? I wonder if is there a law against Labour donating to the Tories? I mean, look, I don't think it's impossible that Boris Johnson could become leader of the Conservative Party again. I think that is within the realms of possibility. I think he probably had the numbers before, to get on the ballot when he flew home that time. But I just think he was probably warned that if he went for the leadership then he would be found guilty of lying to Parliament, and, all of that committee business would ruin it for him, and he'd just have to resign again, right? So instead, he has to play the long game. Like, I truly think that's what's happening here. He has to wait for all that shit to just air out. He has to wait for people to get a bit bored of the lying stuff, of Partygate, and now this, BBC deal corruption-y stuff. And then once that's all died down, he makes the move, right? Like, everyone, including me, has been wondering, why is he flying to Davos? Why is he flying out to Ukraine? Does he think he's still prime minister? Or, like, do they think he's still prime minister? Did they not get the memo? But here it is, right? I figured it out. It all ties in perfectly. He keeps himself high profile, right? On the front pages, like the Times, the Telegraph, Express, the Mail, right? None of them are covering any Rishi Sunak stories or policies or initiatives or responses to anything today. They are all plastered with pictures of Boris Johnson meeting Vladimir Zelensky. All of them are. And the reason they're doing that is so that in 6 months, right, or in a year, when it comes to this leadership challenge, when they're ready to strike, if you like, they can then say, look, if we want a statesman, if we want a leader, if we want to be respected on the world stage, ask yourself this: who was out in Ukraine drinking vodka with Zelensky? Yeah, like who does Ukraine love? Who was out in Davos driving forward the World Economic Forum agenda? That is what they'll say. And then, right, then they'll contextualize it and they'll say, what's Rishi Sunak's globe-trotting geopolitical international credentials? What was he doing while Johnson was flying off to Davos and Ukraine? What was he? Oh yeah, that's right. He was catching a private plane from London to Leeds. That is what they'll say. That is where this is headed. I promise you.